This is Brother Cornell West, and it has been my blessing and joy to be in such high quality conversation with Brother Anthony Parker of Keeping It Honest. Make sure you never miss his show.
And thank you, Mr. Cornell West, Dr. Cornell West. Telephone number is 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718. Email address, parkerman2011@gmail.com, parkerman2011@gmail.com. And we are about to go back to this commencement speech from Harrison Butker as he gave his controversial speech to the graduating class of Benedictine College.
It is essential that we focus on our own state in life, whether that be as a layperson, a priest, or religious. Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2024, you are sitting at the edge of the rest of your lives. Each of you has the potential to leave a legacy that transcends yourselves and this era of human existence. In the small ways, by living out your vocation, you will ensure that God's church continues and the world is enlightened by your example. For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you.
So this part is going to be interesting. So the women have had the most diabolical lies told to you. This is what he's saying. Let me know if you agree or disagree.
How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
Now, is that true? Most of the women are going to be more excited about being married and not the jobs that they're supposed to be getting. So going to college, you're going there to graduate, to be wives and raise children.
I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife.
So she became his wife. She supported him. And she looked into herself and said, hey, you know what? This is the best I can be. Become it. Some people agree with that.
She's the primary educator to our children. She's the one who ensures I never let football or my business become a distraction from that of a husband and father.
And I guess what they say, behind every good man is a good woman.
She is the person that knows me best at my core, and it is through our marriage that, Lord willing, we will both attain salvation. I say all of this to you because I have seen it firsthand, how much happier someone can be when they disregard the outside noise and move closer and closer to God's will in their life. Isabel's dream of having a career might not have come true, but if you asked her today if she has any regrets on her decision, she would laugh out loud without hesitation and say, heck no.
So did her dream not come true because she sacrificed herself for her husband, spiritually or emotionally, or just she wanted to be that faithful woman in some people's eyes, spiritually and faithfully?
As a man who gets a lot of praise and has been given a platform to speak to audiences like this one today, I pray that I always use my voice for God and not for myself. Everything I am saying to you is not from a place of wisdom, but rather a place of experience. I am hopeful that these words will be seen as those from a man not much older than you, who feels it is imperative that this class, this generation, and this time in our society must stop pretending that the things we see around us are normal. Heterodox ideas abound even within Catholic circles. For let's be honest, there is nothing good about playing God with having children, whether that be your ideal number or the perfect time to conceive. No matter how you spin it, there is nothing natural about Catholic birth control. It is only in the past few years that I have grown in courage to speak more boldly and directly, because as I mentioned earlier, I have leaned into my vocation as a husband and father and as a man.
And that part should be any man leaning into their vocation, being strong, being that rock, but then also having that equal substance where your wife is your rock too. Why can't we have two rocks to steady each other? Iron sharpened iron.
To the gentleman here today, part of what plagues our society is this lie that has been told to you that men are not necessary in the home or in our communities.
And that is interesting because you wonder where is he going with that, and who in society says that you don't need a man in society, especially a black man. We don't have enough of them sometimes, which is what he's going to talk about in general.
As men, we set the tone of the culture, and when that is absent, disorder, dysfunction, and chaos set in. Men in the home is what plays a large role in the violence we see all around the nation. Other countries do not have nearly the same absentee father rates as we find here in the US, and a correlation could be made in their drastically lower violence rates as well.
And for that, he's really true. We don't have enough men, unfortunately, in society to be in the home. Some are imprisoned. And it's even harder for African-American men because society sometimes does put a stranglehold on African-American men to either be the breadwinner or even to survive. Some of it's the African-American man's fault and some of it is society. I can say that where Harrison can't.
Be unapologetic in your masculinity. Fighting against the cultural emasculation of men. Do hard things. Never settle for what is easy. Lean into that you.
That's when God gives you a calling. Sometimes God gives you a calling that you didn't know you had. And if he gives you that calling, then you should use that to the betterment of God.
I speak from experience as an introvert who now finds myself as an amateur public speaker and an entrepreneur. Something I never thought I'd be when I received my industrial engineering degree. The road ahead is bright. Things are changing, society is shifting, and people young and old are embracing tradition. Not only has it been my vocation that has helped me and those closest to me, but not surprising to many of you, should be my outspoken embrace of the traditional Latin Mass. I've been very vocal in my love and devotion to the TLM and its necessity for our lives. But what I think gets misunderstood is that people who attend the TLM do so out of pride or preference. I can speak to my own experience, but for most people I have come across within these communities, this simply is not true. I do not attend the TLM because I think I am better than others or for the smells and bells or even for the love of Latin. I attend the TLM because I believe, just as the God of the Old Testament was pretty particular in how he wanted to be worshiped, the same holds true for us today. It is through the TLM that I encountered and began to pursue it in my own life. Aside from the TLM itself, too many of our sacred traditions have been relegated to things of the past, when in my parish, things such as Ember Days, days when we fast and pray for vocations and for our priests, are still adhered to. The TLM is so essential that I would challenge each of you to pick a place to move where it is readily available. A lot of people have complaints about the parish or the community, but we should not sacrifice the Mass for community. I prioritize the TLM even if the parish isn't beautiful, the priest isn't great, or the community isn't amazing. I still go to the TLM because I believe the holy sacrifice of the Mass is more important than anything else. I say this knowing full well that when each of you rekindle your knowledge and adherence to many of the church's greatest traditions, you will see how much more colorful and alive your life can and should be. As you move on from this place and enter into the world, know that you will face many challenges. Sadly, I'm sure many of you know of the countless stories of good and active members of this community who, after graduation and moving away from the Benedictine bubble, have ended up moving in with their boyfriend or girlfriend prior to marriage. Some even leave the church and abandon God. It is always heartbreaking to hear these stories, and there's a desire to know what happened and what went wrong.
And it seems like Harrison is a devout Catholic, and he goes pretty much by the rules of God for him.
What you must remember is that life is about doing the small things well, setting yourself up for success, and surrounding yourself with people who continually push you to be the best version of you.
And what he's saying now applies to anybody, no matter what religion or even no religion that they are. Be around the best people.
I say this all the time, that iron sharpens iron. It's a great reminder that those closest to us should be making us better. If you are dating someone who doesn't even share your faith, how do you expect that person to help you become a saint? If your friend group is filled with people who only think about what you're doing next weekend and are not willing to have those difficult conversations, how can they help sharpen you? As you prepare to enter into the workforce, it is extremely important that you actually think about the places you are moving to. Who is the bishop? What kind of parishes are there? Do they offer the TLM and have priests who embrace their priestly vocation? Cost of living must not be the only arbiter of your choices, for a life without God is not a life at all, and the cost of salvation is worth more than any career. I'm excited for the future, and I pray that something I have said will resonate as you move on to the next chapter of your life. Never be afraid to profess the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, for this is the church that Jesus Christ established, through which we receive sanctifying grace. I know that my message today had a little less fluff than is expected for these speeches, but I believe that this audience and this venue is the best place to speak openly and honestly about who we are and where we all want to go, which is heaven. I thank God for Benedictine College and for the example it provides to the world. I thank God for men like President Minnis who are doing their part for the kingdom. Come to find out, you can have an authentically Catholic college and a thriving football program. Make no mistake, you are entering into mission territory in a post-God world, but you were made for this. And with God by your side, you too can be a saint. Christ is King to the heights.
And there you have it. Wow. What did you think, Harrison Butker? Butker. And his sermon, I guess. Like I said, very strong conservative Catholic. You've been watching and are watching. Keeping it honest. We don't just keep it simple. We don't just keep it real. We keep it honest. And we just played you the speech that Harrison Butker gave. Man, and this is at Benedictine College. He took a lot of flack for this because he pretty much said, well, everybody should stay in your lane. He thought pretty much some of the Catholic ministers are scared to do their job. It shouldn't depend on the parishioners to do their job. He felt that being married to him, well, especially to the ladies graduating, be that homemaker to your husband. And like his wife, if you don't make it in your career, just make sure you're that perfect home body. He made references to Pride Month. He made references to politicians. He made reference to Taylor Swift. So what I have here is an opinion piece. And I kind of like what this said because this gave other parts of what his speech was about in perspective. The person that wrote this is Yvette Walker. And she says that he delivered a traditional and orthodox commencement address. So she thought it was traditional. She said it didn't surprise her. She was raised Catholic, still a Christian believer. But she said what he talked about didn't surprise her. She said he's conservative Catholic. and he's conservative in his political views. So the audience, they kind of laughed a little bit and everything. Um, but the parts that stood out to her, talking about the LGBTQ Pride Month, COVID-19 policies, which he talked about, abortion rights, and having babies. So he used his conservative beliefs in his speech. But what I like that she wrote, let's go back a little bit to what he said. For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. I still wonder what those diabolical lies are. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross the stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you're going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited, really, ladies, about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. Now you wonder, which ladies is he talking to? Before I continue, I must disclose, and this is the lady that wrote this, that she has a career in journalism while she's taking care of her kids. So when he talked about that, about, being a homemaker, was he telling people to stay home and have kids? I like this part, and this was written by a lady. Motherhood and homemaking are incredibly important and rewarding and filled with hard work. Men don't know that, but we respect that a lady is doing that. So in choosing a full-time career with that, many women can do both. They can be homemakers, they can do careers. But in this speech, Butker, he suggested that staying home is worth more than doing things that you want to do, because maybe you just don't want to stay home. So when he talked about that, and he talked about the women, maybe sacrifice yourself, stay home, and get our family together. So think about this. There were women leaders in the Bible. They didn't stay home. All right. They were part of the Christian movement. One of them is Mary Magdalene. She traveled with Jesus. Now, Mary traveled with Jesus, and she was the first to witness the resurrection. She didn't stay home. She and other women, they delivered the gospel to Jews and non-Jews after Jesus left this world. They didn't stay home. These women, here we go, early Christian leaders, Peter, Paul, John, and Timothy, they were just like these women, crucial in helping spread the news of Jesus Christ. Because we always think of those guys, but there were a lot of women who did that. Deborah, the Old Testament military leader in the book of Judges, she strategized battles against the Canaanites. She was also called a prophet. She didn't stay home. Again, let's go into the Bible. The other people, other women who didn't stay home. Ruth, she didn't stay home. Naomi, she didn't stay home. Esther, she didn't stay home. They were remembered for their commitment to family, but they were also brave and had a backbone and spread the love of Jesus. Being a housewife, homemaker is great, and having children is great, but also being a woman that have their own life is great too. So did Butker put down some of these women? Was the address inappropriate? So this writer says she didn't think it was for that crowd, but she hopes that the ladies, because he was talking to the ladies, that they leave that ceremony as they get ready to go and start their lives. That they go out and start their lives. And if their lives, besides their career, is involving a family, then so be it. they can have all of that and even more. Part of her commentary, part of my commentary. What do you think? We put a lot into the show. We had the commentary from the young lady right there, opinion piece from a Catholic writer. We talked about what is it being a Catholic, tried to give you the best as far as I could get information wise. Harrison Butker gave his opinion, gave his commencement address, and hopefully we've educated you, entertained you, and informed you. If you have any questions or comments, you can email yours truly. It's parkerman2011 at gmail.com, parkerman2011 at gmail.com. Telephone number 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718. And don't forget to hit the share and like button and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell anybody you know. And you can also go to our Patreon page. And that is pretty much a page where it's like PBS, like fundraising. If the product you like and you want to continue, then you can contribute money-wise to keep it going. We have 3 tiers. You go to Patreon, type in Keeping It Honest, Anthony Parker, and you'll read a little bit more about our show and what we do. And if you like what we do, then you can contribute to keep us going. We really appreciate you watching. Have any comments, critiques, show ideas, or you put in a Parker twist like we did this, then get in contact with me. We are all a big family, so let's keep it going. I am Anthony Parker. Keep your head up, never look down, always believe in yourself, and therein will lie your answer. We don't just keep it simple. We don't just keep it real. We keep it honest. God bless.